And welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. Letitia James is one of the most unimpressive state's attorneys in this country. James had almost no viable platform to run on in 2018 other than her gender and race. There was nothing remarkable about her to the average Democrat voter, which is surprising because in the affirmative action obsessed culture that is present day New York, James could have catapulted past much of her competition if she had been generally competent enough. Tish James' handlers quickly found a remedy for her unimpressiveness, and that would be Donald Trump. James would campaign in a way that was so clearly immoral and corrupt and despicable that it was astonishing to see. Vote for me and I'll singularly focus on destroying the president that neurotic liberal New Yorkers hate. She had no campaign strategy for the problems of her state, and it's visibly clear. New York is a dump under Tish James as the AG, who spent the last 3 years doing nothing but obsessing over destroying the orange boogeyman, while her state collapsed under COVID-19 and crime. If you want to know who Tish James really is, we've compiled a montage that sums up her entire existence. Take a look.
I say one name, Donald Trump. That should motivate you. Get off your ass and vote.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally.
Running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake.
We need to focus on Donald Trump and his abuses. We need to follow his money. We need to find out where he's laundered money. All of those transactions have happened here in New York City.
Basically just a pathetic soul. That was Letitia James campaigning, and thanks to the left's successful vilification of the populist president who threatened the real power that controls Washington, New York liberals were brainwashed enough to actually fall for that. They voted for that. So what did Trump allegedly do during the decades that he was developing Manhattan's skyline? Well, allegedly, he was doing the exact same numbers game that every developer on the planet does, maximizing his asset valuations when trying to secure loans, minimizing his asset valuations when the tax man comes around. And unless Tish James is a broken, corrupt, pitiful excuse for a prosecutor, you should expect to see every single major developer in New York hit with a similar lawsuit in the coming days. We're just going to have to wait and see. Here's some of the press conference that we saw today from a fading 63-year-old political hack.
This conduct cannot be brushed aside and dismissed as some sort of good faith mistake. The statements of financial condition were greatly exaggerated, grossly inflated, objectively false, and therefore fraudulent and illegal. And as a result of that, we are seeking relief, and Mr. Trump, the Trump Organization, his family, they should all be held accountable. And that is the purpose of this litigation that we are filing today, in addition to referring the criminal conduct to the Southern District of New York, as well as the IRS. No one, my friend, is above the law.
I'd like to thank the Academy. You know, somebody once said politics is Hollywood for ugly people. That was the best example that we can show you. That's what it is. It's just bad acting all over the place. Can you fathom if that woman was the governor of New York? She tried to be and failed miserably because even the most liberal New Yorkers can see how one-dimensional and unimpressive she is. But imagine her with real power. Imagine what she would do with it. I mean, she obviously has no conscience at all. It's horrifying to even imagine. Tish James also wants to ban the Trump Organization from even doing business in New York, a state that has Trump's name all over it, buildings everywhere. A once great state whose star is dying, huge empty midtown skyrises now, unoccupied as companies flee to places like Florida, or permanent work from home as employees complain about the danger and expense of commuting into this crime-ridden rat's nest. Why pay out-of-control commercial rent and risk your employees being beaten in the subway with a lead pipe? It makes better fiscal sense for most business owners. Just accept 20% less productivity and keep your staff on the couch in their underwear. Why wouldn't you? But instead of working to fix New York's problems, Tish James is working to ban one of the men who actually made this city incredible, and this city once was incredible. A recent Trafalgar poll asked New York voters who they would choose if the New York Attorney General race was held today. And in that polling, Yes, your eyes don't deceive you. The Republican is up by a point. That is astounding in New York, a state this blue, 50 days before the election. You start to see why this is happening. Pretty amazing, this 3-year investigation came to fruition just when Tish James needed it, because she's so credible and not corrupt at all. Unfortunately, though, this action by James will be a liability for her party, for Democrats. A purely selfish political stunt, because she needed it, because she was going to lose an election potentially. It's going to cost her entire party loads of credibility. Everybody right now is piling on at the same time. January 6th, Mar-a-Lago. They didn't need any more. It already looks really bad. It already kind of looks like a banana republic, the kind of corrupt country where they just go after their political opponents. Any moderate American who maybe saw a shred of credibility from the January 6th completely one-sided kangaroo court, maybe they did see some credibility to that, is now really thinking twice after watching today's clown show. Anybody who's ever grievanced their property tax appraisal on their home to a number that ended up being lower than what they paid for their house is rolling their eyes at Tish James as well. The New York Attorney General just jumped the shark.